Hello everyone, and welcome to episode 1 of Atama's Review Corner. This video game review is done for Gamestrata.com, where gamers go to meet, converse, and play video games with one another. Where do you rank? I'm your host, Atama Darkening. Today, I will be reviewing Star Wars: The Force Unleashed for the Xbox 360. However, before I begin the review, some of you may or may not be wondering about why I'm wearing this hood. Well, it's because I'm mimicking my avatar from both Gamestrata and YouTube. The voice is just for entertainment purposes as well. So now that that's explained, on with the show. The story of the game revolves between that of episodes 3 and 4. However, it is much more likely closer to that of episode 4 than that of episode 3. Vader finds a young boy strong in the Force on the planet of Kashyyyk and takes him under his wing to eventually one day take down the Emperor. As for the subtitled name of the game suggests, the focus is on unleashing the Force upon your enemies. As the game progresses, however, it does feel as though it quits focusing on the Force and tries to become that of a hack and slash, which for some people may or may not work. For the fans of Star Wars, I believe this works up to a certain extent. But the fans might also enjoy abusing the Force as much as the lightsaber. But the Force may also start to get very repetitive if the player repeats the same action again and again. If the player either does not care about repetitiveness or tries to do unique things with the Force, the game may keep them entertained. The Force will get stopped by many different types of enemies as the game progresses. Some of these enemies include Jedi, machines, and even stormtroopers with shields. Which on the stormtroopers with shields, in my opinion, doesn't make much sense. Even more frustrating as well is when trying to pick up certain people or objects. The targeting system may miss or go for someone or something else. This especially starts to get tedious in the harder difficulties as you try to take down many enemies, and they can kill you within only a few attacks. As for the bosses, they tend not to be affected by the Force most of the time. Because of this, at least in my opinion, it starts to feel like that of some sort of cheap tactic. However, it can also make it more of a challenge for the player. It just all really depends on what type of gamer you are. Fret not, Star Wars fans. There is a story that ties the events between episodes 3 and 4 quite well. At least if you do one ending over another. The Force Unleashed has two different endings, which only become into effect at the end of the game. The voice acting is pretty well done. However, if you've seen the movies and remember the voices, then when certain people from the movies speak, it sort of takes you out of the Star Wars universe, if only for but a moment. However, if the hardcore fans can get over this fact, or just don't care, then the voice acting isn't that bad. If you're not a fan of the movies, and just got the game because it looked interesting, then it isn't the worst voice acting that has been seen in a game. The levels are brilliantly done. However, halfway through, they send the character back to the same areas, but usually with either a different perspective or changed environment. which really give even more of a feel that the game is a short one, especially once you've beaten it for the first time. The game also gives you customizable crystals that change the color of the blade, as well as another set of crystals that give the apprentice some unique abilities once installed in the lightsaber. Costumes do play but a little role in the game. However, you unlock most of these as you progress through it. The player builds up the apprentice and his powers like that of an RPG. As much as I enjoyed this, it seemed way too easy to power him up to the max, or at least power him quite a bit up near the beginning of the game. Either by just finding an area with lots of enemies that give good experience, through combos. Once you've cleared out the area, all you have to do is off yourself and repeat the process all over again. But at the same time, it was still fun to expand on the force powers and cause even more damage than previously done at a lower ranking for that power. If for nothing else, the Star Wars fans may enjoy the story and the ability to feel the Force in a whole new way. For everyone else, if they try to experiment with the Force, then they may have just enough fun with the game, along with the story. Lastly, for those who like achievements, or only just play the games for the achievements, most aren't too difficult to acquire. Most are number achievements, usually with your powers. Mostly that of like kill 100 enemies with force push, or kill 100 enemies with force shield. The hardest difficulty in the game may also be that of the hardest achievement. It may just take some time to accomplish these goals. There are no online achievements, but for the most part, on a scale of how hard the list of achievements are to acquire, from 1 to 10, I give this game a 4. So, the final score for Star Wars: The Force Unleashed is a 6.6, for most gamers at least, who are not Star Wars fans. As for me, and a lot of other Star Wars fans who may or may not have enjoyed the game up to a certain point, but at least enjoyed the unique ways to defeat your enemies with the Force and the story, it gets a rating of 7.6. Thanks for joining me for the first episode, and I will be back for another show with the review of Devil May Cry 4. Till then, good gaming, and see you next time on Atama's Gaming Corner.